Hey guys, I'm bringing you a video about some technology myths that have been going around for years and years, and they just drive me nuts. These are ones that I personally hear people talk about, and I just cringe. So let's get into it. The first one is my biggest one. It's one of the common misconceptions that people get, and it's that Macs cannot get viruses. Just people think that Macs are immune to viruses overall, that hackers don't make viruses for them, and it's simply untrue. Where this misconception comes from historically is the fact that there's way more Windows machines out there, so hackers make viruses for Windows machines because they have a chance to infect more people. There are viruses for Macs, but one, less people have Macs, and so less people get infected with viruses on Macs, but also because less people have Macs, less hackers write viruses for Macs to begin with. Now this next one has to do with PCs also, and basically it's the misconception that is, that people think that you have to have a bunch of RAM to have a practical computer. And in some cases, depending on what you're doing, that's the case, but most of the time that's simply not the case at all. My computer has 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's more than enough for anything I ever do. Some people think they need 16, and in some cases that's true. But for most people, 8 gigs is way more than you will ever need. I mean, I do heavy video editing for my channel here, and I never ever fully utilize all 8 gigabytes of RAM doing that, ever. And I think the most I've ever utilized is around 4 gigabytes with video editing. So if you do heavy gaming, you might get into the 6 gig range, maybe if you do really super heavy gaming. But then again, that dips into graphics, and that's a whole other sector of the computer market. So all in all, you don't need a ton of RAM to have a good, efficient computer. The third one is the misconception that phone batteries can be overcharged or ruined by left plugging in overnight. And that was the case with batteries, say, cordless phones, 15 years ago, like landlines, and those batteries were made of nickel and cadmium, and those had a memory effect to where if you left them plugged in, they would just lose their lifespan over time. Now, almost everything with a rechargeable battery nowadays has lithium ions, and with lithium ions, the memory effect is pretty much defunct, so you can pretty much leave it plugged in. This applies to phones, laptops, anything, but for this one, people think that leaving their iPhone plugged in overnight can harm the battery life, and that's simply not the case. The fourth one is about HDMI cables, and for the most part, not a whole lot of people fall for this one, but some people do, so I just want to mention it just to throw it out there. And it's basically, any HDMI cable, you go to Best Buy and you can get one for $15 at Best Buy, or you can get one for $60 that has gold-plated tips that make the data transfer faster and make it look better. Honestly, you're paying for the gold that's on that, and it doesn't do anything. You're literally paying for the gold on that. My roommate and I have a PS3 and a decent HD TV, and basically we bought an HDMI cable on Amazon for, I believe, $4, and I mean, it looks fine. It looks perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. I would never spend $60 or to $100 on an expensive gold-plated one. Now, the last one's been around for a while, and it has to do with cameras, and it's the conception that people think that the more megapixels you have, the better pictures it takes. So if you get a point-and-shoot camera that has 10 megapixels, it's automatically worse of a camera than the one with 20. And that might not be the case. For the most part, cameras with 8 megapixels take decent enough shots that if you upload it to a website, that's all the memory of a picture that it'll store. It's not going to store anything higher anyway. It's just going to store an 8 megapixel condensed version of the picture. And so basically, unless you're doing professional editing, obviously you'll have a DSLR with a huge lens and that type of thing. But for a point and shoot or a phone or anything like that, 8 megapixels, 12 megapixels, that's not what makes the difference. What makes the difference in the camera is the optics, and that includes the lens, all the internals, like the iPhone changed. iPhone changed its camera. It's still 8 megapixels, but it changed a lot of the optics, and it improved cameras over time, but it never had to add megapixels because that's not what's most important to a good shot. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any opinions on these myths, be sure to leave a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.